I was still on my feet when my father said it, "Turn in your badge." The conference room smelled like polished wood and old promises. My name was engraved in brass on the door, yet the space suddenly felt like it belonged to someone else. My mother wouldn't meet my eyes. My younger brother leaned back in his chair, wearing the kind of smile people wear when they think they've already won. Incompetent, my father went on, his voice calm and precise like a scalpel. "You only got this far because of the family." Then my brother chimed in. "You're just a parasite draining the company." I started to reply, then stopped. That was the day I learned silence can cut deeper than words. I had built this place before my brother could even spell EBITDA. I was 22 when I skipped my honeymoon to save a failing supplier, 27 when I slept on the factory floor during a strike, 32 when I made a gamble that doubled our export revenue. I never demanded praise. I believed blood meant trust. I was wrong. We hadn't always been like this. My brother and I used to be close. I taught him how to read balance sheets, how to listen in meetings instead of showing off. He laughed, nodded, took notes. Somewhere along the way, he stopped asking questions and started taking screenshots. The change came quietly. A meeting rescheduled without me, and a mail chain I wasn't included on. My signing authority temporarily reassigned my mother, correcting me in front of junior staff. My father no longer asking my opinion, only informing me decisions were already made. I didn't argue. I observed. The proof surfaced on a Tuesday night. I was reviewing old contracts, my contracts, when I found an amendment I had never approved. My signature had been forged, clean and confident. The intellectual property I created had been moved into a new subsidiary formed 3 months earlier. CEO, my brother. I felt the betrayal, but beneath it came something sharper, clarity. They hadn't forced me out because I was weak. They forced me out because I was in the way. So I planned. I gathered copies of every document I'd written, every risk memo they ignored, every email where I warned them. I hired a lawyer quietly, paying the retainer from a personal account they didn't know existed. I reached out to institutional investors I had personally brought in years earlier. Just coffee, just questions, no anger, no drama. I reorganized. The subsidiary was fragile, buried in debt, and dependent on licensing agreements tied directly to my original designs I had never fully signed away because I trusted my family and because I was careful. I waited. 3 weeks after they fired me, I stepped down as trustee of the family foundation. Investors noticed. 2 weeks later, a key supplier triggered a clause only I knew how to renegotiate. They couldn't. Production slowed, then stopped. My brother moved into my old office and tried to sound like me. He couldn't. He raised his voice. He promised faster growth. He didn't understand the system he had taken. Then I acted. My attorney filed for an injunction over the forged amendment. At the same time, investors demanded an emergency board review. The bank froze the subsidiary's credit line pending investigation. The word fraud began drifting through rooms I no longer sat in. Which brings us to today. Same conference room, same polished wood, a very different silence. My father's hands trembled. My mother looked smaller than I remembered. My brother kept checking his phone like confidence might text him back. They asked me to explain. I stood, straightened my jacket, and did. I laid out the timeline, the forgery, the legal exposure, the investors' exit clauses. I explained calmly how the company could survive if I was reinstated with full authority, and the subsidiary dissolved. I also explained what would happen if they refused. My brother tried to interrupt. I lifted one finger. He stopped. For the first time in his life, he listened. My father asked, "Is this revenge?" I shook my head. "This is correction." The vote was unanimous. It always is when survival is on the line. My brother was officially removed to pursue other interests. The subsidiary folded back into the parent company like a failed experiment. My parents signed the papers without ceremony. Blood doesn't protect you when the numbers stop working. Now, late at night, I sit alone in the office they took from me and return to late. I don't feel victorious. I feel exact. They called me a parasite because I never chased the spotlight. They confused restraint for weakness. They forgot who built the cage they tried to lock me out of. I didn't shout. I didn't beg. I didn't burn the company down. I simply reminded them who was holding it together. And when my brother cleared out his desk, he finally understood who had always been in his place. It was me.